Hi guys, it's Krishantiw with Krishantiw.com talking about psychic development and spiritual and personal growth. And what I wanted to chit chat a little bit about today is when you go in to get a reading with somebody and you don't necessarily like what you hear. And those of us who do professional readings often do trades or get readings and healings with other people for guidance and everything. So just because you know how to do it doesn't mean you're not also like interacting and getting second opinions from other professionals. But what I have noticed that happens sometimes, and a lot of clients have told me these types of things, and I've seen them firsthand for myself. I'll tell you a couple stories about that later on too. But people have been told things that are frankly quite upsetting and create this effect, this sort of doom and gloom outlook, or this something that's just not great. So I've had people say that intuitives, astrologers, energy workers, whatever, have told them, like different people have said, like, oh, you're never going to get married, or this is the way this is going to happen, or this is the way that's going, and it's not such a positive way. And the first thing that you need to be aware of is that those of us who are intuitive and who are giving readings and doing things, like, we don't know everything. And another thing that happens sometimes is a reader will actually be a catalyst for change, maybe tell you something that you don't want to hear, that you don't like, that in turn really wakes you up and causes you to pivot and change your direction towards something that is for your ultimate higher good. I do want to say absolutely that I don't think anyone should give any stock to any predictions, because there is so much going on in this world and in this universe that to have 100% accuracy and say, like, this is going to happen at this time is pretty much unheard of. And in fact, I have a friend that suggested I get a session with somebody who is known for being amazing with her timing, and she told me things. It was like retrocognition, so all of the things that she said were going to happen actually did happen the year before. So even the best of the best can get a little bit, I don't want to say confused, because that makes it sound like there's a weakness there, but to predict and to really get a handle and a grip on the direction of things, especially when it comes to your free will or the free will of the people you're asking about, it just really isn't. It isn't also the best use of your time, because it might be more effective to ask questions about, like, well, is it in my best interest to do this? Or what does it look like if I do that? Or how can I heal? Or how can I change this belief? How can I start shifting and moving into my highest potential? Like, those kinds of more empowering questions are ultimately for your highest good. But another reason why I wanted to talk about this too is that you've got to be aware that these people, those of us who are intuitives and energy workers, sensitives, and astrologers, tarot readers, what have you, we're not always, I don't know, you got to take into account that people have good days and bad days, that some are very moody and can hurt you or insult you or deliver messages in a way that is like kind of hurtful, not intending to make you feel bad, but just because they're grumpy or in a bad mood. And if you cannot give them all of that power, and I need to step back and say also, I mean spiritual teachers, but if you can step back and not give them that power, like, wait, she just totally insulted me, and I guess because she's so well powerful, that means I suck. Instead, see, like, that person has their own issues and may need to work on interpersonal skills or whatever, but not take it personally and let it roll off. That will behoove you. But, I remember a while ago meeting a spiritual teacher who I really looked up to. She's very like a really great writer. I think the work she's doing is awesome. And I was so excited. Sometimes I get really excited and my energy gets really big. And I'm one of those people, and maybe you are too. If I'm feeling fantastic, everybody around me feels it. If I'm feeling really bad, everybody around me feels it. And sometimes if I'm really angry, electronics go awry, and it's not a good thing. So I have to really control my energy, because it's like, So this day I was like, yes, I'm so excited to be here and like meet her, and this is so cool. And she recoiled, and I just kind of can't. I feel like I maybe need to talk to her about it, because maybe she would understand, or maybe I could just have a little inner dialect with myself and her, or dialogue. But she just like shrank back, and then it was as if she didn't like me. And then there was this seminar thing, and she like, I don't know, it just didn't feel good, and it made me feel bad. Like, well, what's wrong with me? Or did she, as an intuitive, pick up on something about me that's negative that I don't see? And so now I've come to realize, when I think back about that, it's like, okay, well, yeah, she's talked about how I'm not gonna say who it is either, because I don't roll like that, but she is very, very sensitive. And so when I was like, and there was an event and all these people, it probably wasn't her forte, like her best place. And she probably maybe wasn't having a fantastic day. Maybe she was a little annoyed by my exuberant, over the top enthusiasm. So, all of that. But you've got to know that sometimes it's not about you and somebody you're going to for spiritual advice. They're regular people. They're going to have good days and bad days, and take that into account. And if you feel as though, first of all, if you're having a session and you're like, I don't like this, or something's not right, you need to stop and just say, I feel like something's not quite right, or we're not quite connecting. Can we please stop this? You have every right to like stop an exchange. And fortunately, I haven't had to do that in a while, but I learned the hard way that if I'm not resonating with someone I'm in an exchange with, a client, I need to shut it down right away, because it's not going to get any better. And that person may want me to be doing fortune telling or tell them things that aren't necessarily true, in some way, shape, or form. Or it's just that not everybody gets along. We're not all, you can't please everybody. And so just like, you need to just be selective I'm rambling here. Be selective in who you're going to work with. And then if you're feeling like this isn't quite, I'm not quite getting this, you have every right to say, I think I'm feeling off. I think I need to stop. And of course, tune into your gut first and foremost before you work with someone, because you're letting them into a very vulnerable area of your life. I mean, you're giving them permission to work with your energy, to help you. It's like choosing a therapist. I mean, I've been to so many not great therapists, and they can do a lot of harm. So it's the same thing for a reader. And just remember, just because they are on this like super spiritual path, or they seem like they're very, I mean, I'm the first to tell you, I'm in this field, and like and maybe it's a disservice to me, but I'm in no way going to make any pretenses to say that I'm further along path than anybody else. Because if anything, those of us on this spiritual path who are doing this work are having harder tests and more lessons and more things we need to learn and improve and grow on than others, if you get the gist of what I'm saying. So I hope that makes sense. And back to the helpful things for you, be very careful about who you work with. When you work with them, be careful about the questions you ask or the advice you're looking for. I would suggest framing your questions in a more, more of a constructive light, and ask them to help work with you to do that. And if you're doing energy work, most especially, look at what other people have said, and do your own reading and tune in to that person and make sure it's someone that you can totally trust. And ultimately what you want to work with, or the type of person you want to work with, is somebody who's very, very powerful, but very, very compassionate. There are a lot of really great people out there, I will tell you that. And so it won't be hard to find the right one for you. And also just remember, if you're getting into that hazy territory of predictions or of asking them about your life path, and you hear something that might be negative, remember that the future is something that is within your grasp to change. They could be delivering, if a message is negative, it could be one of those subtle catalyst type of messages that makes you perhaps get stirred up and riled up and angry, and get that positive, fresh, fiery anger flowing, so that you make the changes you need to be making to get further along, on your path and everything. So I have all kinds of tools for your own development and growth on my website at Krishantiw.com. I've got some free meditations you can try out to see how it works or how they go, and then I've got workshops and courses and all kinds of stuff. So check it out, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.